Okay, so now I'd like to introduce you to our speaker, Misha Rubin. Misha is formerly an E&Y partner and for many years, and he's done a lot of really great things in his career. And he, several years ago, he started an organization focused on orphans in Ukraine called the WWO, and he's now an active board member, but he was a founder, and it's focused on orphans and education. So that's pretty impressive. And now he's launched into career coaching, and he really focuses primarily on helping executives in transition, help them find their next thing, and whether that's, you know, going into the same thing or launching into something new. And his company is called the Career Leap. So we're excited to have Misha here. And Misha, we're turning it over to you.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. I love being here. And I really want to acknowledge PRG for building a community, which I think it's very rarely nowadays that I see a recruiting business build such tight communities. And you guys all showed up and you have faces on, because often you go into these rooms and people don't hide, right? So that's, I would say, huge compliment to you guys. I'm very excited. I will talk about a lot of things. I hope one of the things will become very relevant for you depending when you're on your journey. Okay, let me see. So we will talk about three things, or we will touch on these three things. And I know we have just 53 minutes. I know people are very strict here, 53 minutes to cover. We talk about reinventing your career. We're talking about landing your dream job, and we're talking about thriving in your current role. I hope I'll be able to cover at least a little bit of everything. And, but mostly importantly, we will inquire into profound topics like how come our career journey is such a complicated matter? Like how come? Because we'll talk about how you participate in your career and in your life. You'll also discover where you are in the cycle, in your career cycle. And then you might be wondering why you should be listening to this bald guy in glasses with a weird accent, right? So let me tell you like a little bit of my background. Before starting the Career Leap, which is a coaching and educational company, I worked on Wall Street for many years. I was a partner at a Big Four, Ernst & Young. So I guided countless careers, promotions, raises, you name it. I advised hundreds of Wall Street professionals. I built, I ran a practice at Ernst & Young, so I kind of run my own business. And there was this moment for me, and I remember it very vividly, when I was sitting on one of our business development meetings, and everybody was talking and chatting, and I heard myself speak, like in a corporate voice, when you're very serious. And then as I was speaking, I heard my quiet voice that told me, there is no way you're going to be doing this anymore. The only thing my quiet voice wasn't that polite. And at that time, I was a partner for 5 years. I was making more money than an immigrant from Ukraine could have ever imagined. And I had all like this trophy job. You can tell everybody that you're a partner. I was also a parent of 3 young children. I was a breadwinner, and I didn't have an exact idea what I wanted to do. And I decided to do something that I don't recommend anybody, but I jumped off the cliff. And as I was flying off the cliff, I was thinking about that I know so many people that are unfulfilled at their jobs, or not fully realized at their jobs, or feel stuck at their jobs. And I thought, we really lack career education. We really lack, how do you know what's the right thing for me to do, when there's the right time to make change? That's basically, as a good consultant, and I don't know whether you guys work with consultants, who know how to develop frameworks and methods, and that's what I did. And for the past 3 years, I've been working with professionals like you, helping them reinvent careers, get the jobs they want, help them succeed at their jobs, and all these big things. Now, let's dive in. And I want to start with a big career dilemma. And I want us to look at all the things that drive our career and why it's becoming such a complicated equation. So first of all, there are external factors. And external factors, like we want respect, right? We want to be respected. We want to be recognized at our jobs. We want to be well compensated, right? And we want to get promoted, right? This is what we want from the external satisfaction in our career. And then if we look internally, we are looking for meaning. Like we want the work that we do to be meaningful. We want to be fulfilled at the end of the day. Like we want to have this feeling that we've been doing something that's right for us, that made an impact. We want to take care of our responsibilities in life, right? And we want some type of a balance, peace of mind, make sure that all of our parts of our life work. Okay, so those are the two directions. And then I'll add the third direction, and I call it the leap. And here's what I mean. In my leap philosophy is that we're always in the state of change. So we are always in the leap. So we're always on the path someplace. We don't know where it is. So whether you like it, whether you agree with that, we're always in the state of change, in a leap. And that leap, in our leap, we deal with circumstances, right? There could be a market, and people think, oh, economy is tanking, circumstance, or AI is taking over our jobs, circumstances. We deal with change. We both deal with external change and internal change, like aging, and maybe asking some type of different questions that we were not asking ourselves before. When we're dealing with our wants and aspirations, what do we want from this life? Like, how can we get what we want? And the last thing is we create visions for our future. So then if you look at your career, suddenly it's like it's a complicated equation with at least 12 variables that we outlined it. So no wonder it's actually not an easy thing to manage, and it requires both an art and science on how to do it. And that's something that we're not at school. I usually say, they don't teach us how to manage money. They don't teach us how to raise kids, and they don't teach us how to grow our career. They don't teach us all the most important things, right? While we spend so many hours getting educated. Now, and if you don't understand how a career journey is crafted, if you don't know how to communicate about yourself, if you're not surrounding yourself with the right people and having right conversation, if you continuously doubting yourself, if you don't know how to get to clarity, if you don't know how to make requests and advocate for yourself, then career becomes a very daunting thing, right? And what is career? Like, it's really a set of choices, actions, aspirations, communications, results, like all the relationship that's all creates our career. And what you really need, I call it a career framework and strategy to navigate your career. So you can make good decisions, so you can take right actions at the right time, so you know what's right for you. That's a big one. And when it is the time to make change and what change to make, right? And if you are navigating your career without framework and strategy, you're kind of like in a vacuum. Like imagine if somebody told me, like, I'm running a business, and your life is kind of your enterprise that you're running, right? I'm running a business, I don't have a strategy. You'll be like, are you crazy? Like, what are you doing? Then it's very hard to make choices. And then you're making choices based on what other people want from you. Like one of the common things that I see, there is a definition of success that exists in our society, and we just inherited versus having our own. We're making a lot of circumstantial decisions. We're stuck in inertia when it's really hard to make a decision, or we are afraid to take in actions. And then your job's starting to take life out of you. And as a result, we live with regrets, we make detours, we feel unfulfilled, and we feel like everybody's after us, we feel stuck. I don't know. For some of you, maybe some of these things sound familiar. And by the way, I won't tell you, so one of the biggest regrets people report at their end of their life is that they haven't taken enough risks in their career. Now, careers also is one of the ways that we make a difference, we solve problems and impact our community and self-realize. So we need a framework. And what is a good framework? Is something that will help us navigate all these decisions that we need to make. So I want to start with a very simple, I call it a career growth model, and it's almost like we live in this cycle and the first one, I would like to start with envision. And envision starts where we think about what it is we want, whether we want to reinvent career, or maybe we just want to get a different job. We like our career, or maybe we like our job and our company, and we're thinking about how do we get it to the next level, right? And then the next job becomes how to attain it. So how do I get this new job or new role or new thing? And the last one is how do we excel? How do we become really, really good at whatever it is we created? And I see it as a cycle. So we kind of move, and then at some point, it doesn't matter how great of a job you had, at some point you'll grow out of it. and you'll move into different direction. So my question to you guys, and please comment in a chat, is where do you see yourself in that cycle? I'm very curious. You can put it in the chat. Are you in the process you envisioning? Are you in the process like I know what I want, I'm just attaining, or I'm at the right job, I'm excelling? And I want to give you another tip. If you're like, I'm not sure where I am, I'm not sure, I can't find my place, that means you need to go back to envisioning. If you're questioning where you are, that means it's time to go to envisioning. So I see envisioning, I see attaining. Okay, working to attain, obtaining, or attaining. Okay, so I think a lot. Okay, some people looking to excel. Okay, you guys, we all over the place, which is great. I feel like when people in different places, that's how we learn from one another. Okay, so you guys, we talked about career dilemma. We talked about your career growth model. And now I want to tell you about levels of participation in life and in your career. Now, this is a fun conversation. Don't take it too seriously. Don't get offended. This is an opportunity. You know, if we want to elevate our consciousness, the first thing starts with telling the truth. And first and foremost, tell truth to yourself. And if you want to share it with everybody else, that would be great. But don't take this exercise as serious. So I identified 6 levels of participation in life. So the first one is I call that level is complainers. So complainers is like, you know, like how life comes at us and we have to do the things. And there are these people that complain about it, they moan about it, they whine about it, they just. By the way, if you're recognizing yourself, I want to say, whatever level you recognize, there is nothing wrong with that. I think that most important to understand what it is, and this is not linear. Okay, but what's important that the view of life for complainers is that life sucks. That life sucks, you know, that's basically the underlying. And our view of life, by the way, is that what creates our actions and experiences and moves us forward. So that's the first group. The second group, I call them reactors. So those are people, you know, the circumstances come and they respond to them, Maybe they don't complain as much, but they think their experience of life is that life is hard. Life is hard. It's a hard life. You guys see that? The third level are dreamers. I just actually spoke with this executive, an amazing guy, a dreamer, like in operating right now in this area. Like, so the dreamers think that life is hard, they respond to life, and they have a dream, you know, that one day they want to do this or that one, but that dream seems quite unattainable. Yeah, make sense? Just nod, you guys, if you nod. Okay. Dreamers, are you recognizing yourself yet? Come on. You don't have to share if you don't want to. Okay. The third level, the fourth level, and this is not linear, by the way, are planners. So planners are people that respond to life, right? They have some clarity and they empower to make small linear changes to their life. So they could go say like I can make this a little bit better. I can make this a little bit efficient. And that's where they operate in a little bit of making things a little bit better and a little bit of improvement, right? The next level, those are achievers. That's where I spend a lot of time. Achievers, those people that achieve great things. They get promoted. They make a lot of money. Those are just an example. They could be running, they could be, but they don't necessarily maybe feel fulfilled. They questioning whether they're doing the right thing. But if they set their mind to doing something, they do. Like I know I spent many years there, like being a partner at Ernst & Young, but knowing that's not the right thing for me, right? And then the last one on top is an empowered, impactful human. So an empowered, impactful human, this is somebody who knows who they are, that live their life and do the work in alignment with their value system. They are empowered to make change. They become a great example to their kids and community of how to live purposeful life. And they always like creating what's next, regardless of the circumstance, regardless of what comes. They're like, so what am I creating next? And then they have enough will to accomplish it. Okay. Does this make sense? So I would love you guys, if you have a sheet of paper or something, I wonder, will there be a brave person to work with me? If you recognize your participation category, especially if you are in the first three, complainers, reactors, dreamers, I would love, if you want to work with me. If anybody's willing, anybody, any brave souls, anybody up? Russ, okay. Okay, we can unmute you. Russ, so what is your category?
Well, I guess it's a little bit more a dreamer. I am working towards
Okay.
a new career, and I got a
Okay.
friend who's very much a complainer, and he's ironically
okay.
he's a Christian. So I bust his chops, and whenever I do say anything that sort of says the ship is mine, he goes, "Oh, like."
Oh, okay, you guys. Okay, yeah. We only evaluating ourselves. This
Okay.
is designed.
Right,
It's
okay.
very easy to see somebody else.
You're
We're not in the
right.
business of
He just
evaluating
goes,
other people. You just, yeah. So, okay.
All right.
So you're a dreamer. Okay. So tell me, how does it feel? And you guys, as I'm asking these questions, you can do this little exercise. So put on top your participation category, right? And
Yeah.
just look at what is your experience in life? And remember, dreamers are, you respond to life and you have some ideas about the future that feel somewhat unattainable. That's basically definition of the dreamer.
Yep.
How does it feel?
It does feel, because I don't have formal financial background. I have informal financial background and no manufacturing background. And what I'm looking for is in the area that's actually a little bit more, could be seen as a little more manufacturing if you looked at the trade code, because I'm looking in renewable energy, battery use, finance. So,
and
yeah.
how does it feel? So how does it feel? So you have one background with another, what is that experience for you?
It's a stretch, I guess.
You feel like you're stretched. Okay.
Yes.
What else? So imagine you're stretched, you want something that seems far away, you feel stretched. What else?
Yeah. And then I'm getting this kind of negativity from this friend, or what I'm sensing is negativity because of what's going on in his life.
And then you're navigating, you're sensing some negativity from others. And how does it feel for you to have the negativity?
Not good, because
not good
because well, then I start feeling tired. I start feeling a little lethargic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tired and
Especially
lethargic.
Yeah.
Okay, and tell me, inside of that experience of life, how do you operate? What actions you take? And you guys, as we working with Russ, you guys do a little bit how, first of all, you really want to get to your experience, you might, yeah. And then you think, so how do I operate?
Well, I guess I take longer to do things, or things I don't have answers to the things that I do need. And I had a rather heated discussion with him where he's like, his suggestions to me seem freaking useless. And
so you argue, you take time doing things.
It's very.
Do you produce results?
Not quickly.
So maybe over time, but it's kind of,
yeah, it's too slow.
And look at your limitations. What type of limitations do you feel? Here, this is how I feel and experience. This is what I do and don't do. And how do you experience your limitations?
I'm not sure what you mean. How do I experience my limitations?
So what are your limitations? You have clearly a goal.
Yeah.
And what are your limitations in accomplishing it?
Limitations are reaching out. I'm not reaching out to the contacts that I've been given as much, and I have a lot more of those to reach out to. And my other limitations may be if it depends on the role, on what the particular role needs.
But what are your limitations in life right now, that in that pursuit that you're doing? What is your limitation in life?
Well,
do you feel on the top of the world, Russ? Do you feel on the top of the world, like you're taking over the world?
No.
So what is the limitation? You have things that you want, and then you feel stretched, angry, frustrated. What is the limitations? What is that inside that holding you back? Look.
Feel not having the right kind of assistance.
Okay, you don't feel supported.
Yeah.
You don't have the
not
right
this-
support.
Yeah, the right support.
Okay. So you think if you had the right support, then you
Yes.
catapulted. Okay, awesome. So thank you. Thank you for
You're
working with
welcome.
me.
You're
Okay.
welcome. Thank you.
So now we continue this exercise, and now think about, imagine a moment in your life where you experienced yourself as an empowered, impactful human. And what I'm looking for here is a specific moment. Like my boss called me and said, oh my God, this was amazing. Or I released this project. I was like, oh my, there was like a moment. So what I'm looking is for a moment where you experienced yourself as an empowered, impactful human. Everybody has it? Anybody is doubting? Just nod or raise your hand or wave at me. So that, okay, I feel some nods, some smiles. You have this particular moment, you know. Yeah. So imagine I took you from whatever place you were, in whatever category of participation you were, and I catapulted you. You have the same life, the same circumstances, and I transitioned you into a different world where you are empowered, impactful human. And you know exactly how it feels because you already have this, at least one moment in life where you feel like that, okay? And just look for yourself and see, how does it feel there? How does it feel there? Just look at your life, at your problems, at the job search, at whatever, wherever you are, and look how, and you are standing and being or sitting and being an empowered, impactful human. How does it feel for you? Anybody wants to share? I see Russ is doing like this. Bill, you want to say how does it feel?
Confident. I feel energized.
Okay, great. Okay. And tell me, Bill, like, what would you do now? How would you operate? Like, are there any actions you would take that would be like, oh, I see what I really need to do now?
Right. You see a clear vision ahead of where you want to go. You have the first next step. You've on what you want to do next, so you can move forward in that direction.
Okay. And see what are your limitations now in this world?
Very few, much less than they would be before that state.
Beautiful. So guys, I just want to point, we don't even have a lot of time to dive into this. I'm doing this really quickly, but I just want you to see that at the source of everything is how we participate in life and our mindset. Whether you're reinventing your career, whether you're looking for a new job, whether you're trying to be better at your current job and this is all inside. It all starts with your mindset. Okay, we did this. Okay. I'm switching topics because we're covering a lot of things. So we're talking about envisioning, and specifically, I want to talk about reinventing your career. Who's interested in that? Who's interested in the topic of career reinvention? Okay, some hands here. Okay, great. So the biggest mistake that people make, they rush to get a new job, to get a promotion, or whatever else they think they want, without getting to the source of what it is they really truly want. And they don't explore what's possible. So I want to tell you, it's a very simple model that I say. There are two questions that you need to answer. The one of them is, who am I? Right? It's a big philosophical question. But fundamentally, knowing what to do in life is a function of knowing who you are. And the second part of that equation, you need to understand what's possible. So the internal part, who am I? And the external part, what's possible out there. What are the possibilities? What are the jobs? What are the industries? What are opportunities, business, whatever it is. And then someplace in the middle where these two things come together, that's your possible good fit for your career change. And when people don't do enough of exploration in these areas, they settle. You know, they just get the job or get whatever it is, they settle, or they can settle in their career, or they ignore something that's really important in their lives, or sometimes they just stay paralyzed and don't take any action because, you know, they're scared. So let me explain. When we think about career options, we're just not exploring deep enough and broad enough And for the most part, we just look at the surface. I'll give you a few examples of real life example. There's this, gentleman that I spoke with, I knew him back from consulting years. He's like, I work in consulting, and then I went, I wasn't happy. So I went to work in a bank. And now I'm not happy with a bank. I guess I should go back to consulting. That's like one of the models. Or I'll give you another story of actually a client of mine that actually had a massive breakthrough. She came to me and she said, "Oh, Misha, I'm international tax." She was an international tax attorney. She hated it. She said, "I don't even know. I got there circumstantially. But all I see, I either need to keep doing this work or I need to start my business." Now, I have no idea how to start a business. I don't have money to start the business. I can't just quit my job. So she is between an option that's not exciting and not viable. And that's how people feel stuck. And then we wonder, if we compromise, if we don't do exploration, if we just take whatever comes, how have we ended up here? Anybody face that question? I remember, even when I received a phone call, like Misha getting promoted to a partner. I really worked my butt off to get there, right? And I was like, how did I end up? I know I worked hard for it, but I know this is not it. So I want to tell you about career exploration and how important it is for you to make a right choice. And I will tell you a little secret now. You know how people want to commit to change? Like, I want to change. I want to change. And change is objectively scary and risky and hard. It's objective, like you don't know what's on the other side. It's objective, but exploration is not. Exploration is actually risk-free. So instead of committing to change, I usually say commit to exploration. Now, this is what will happen. You will get educated about many topics that are of interest to you. You will actually learn a lot about yourself. If you decide to make a change of your career, you'll be making a very thoughtful and educated choice. And if you don't want to make a change career, you don't make it. About 15 years ago, I woke up and I said, I know what I want to do with my life. I just got promoted to senior manager at UI. And I say, I know I want to fight terrorism because there was some terrorist, I read terrorist books on terrorism, whatever this. I found this person that connected me to people. And the next thing I know, I'm in an interview with CIA, I'm in an interview with FBI, and it's all going. The next thing I know, I'm getting a job offer from FBI. And as I was looking at how little they pay and that I need to move to a new city and that I would start at the very bottom, I was like, you know what, I really don't want it. But the exploration was exhilarating, right? So you can have a lot of fun doing exploration. So here it is how you do it. So I'll tell you. So if you're exploring new careers, and if you don't do it now, remember it for the future. I would start with generating 21 ideas of where and what you could be doing. 21 ideas, not idea less. You can have more. Okay, and this is what you explore. First of all, you start with opportunities at your current job or your current company. So maybe it's a different role, but someplace from where you already explore. Create a list. Don't judge it. Don't evaluate it. Just create a list. The second thing, look at different industries and some industries, because very often people cling to the industry they know. In reality, there is a lot of, and what I found that when you switch industry, a lot of experiences, people look at knowledge and skills, but experiences are transferable. So if you manage something in one place, you can transfer it to another industry. If you design something in one place, you can a lot of things you can. Make a deep dive. I usually say explore industry and they take one and learn everything about it. And we live in such a lucky time. Podcasts, books, TED Talks, YouTube, you can really learn a lot about the industry. You might find some topics that's so interesting for you, and then you'll find so relevant for you. Examine different roles. That's another thing that people don't do. They don't have tools to examine different roles. And the best way to examine roles is from understanding your strengths and experiences, because you could, again, transfer a lot of your strengths and experiences into a different role. Explore business ideas. Come on. By the way, you're not committing to any of this. Remember, you just explore. You're not making a commitment. So that's why it's risk-free. You have a business idea, put it. The other amazing thing that I found Sometimes people put things on the list and then in 3 years it will become relevant. But the fact that you put it on the list, I got, I'm from Ukraine. I joined Worldwide Orphans as a board member about 10 years ago. And when I joined the board, and Worldwide Orphans is an amazing organization. We work with children with trauma all over the world. And when I joined the board, I was like, I gotta bring Worldwide Orphans to Ukraine. I gotta bring Worldwide Orphans to Ukraine. And then it was sitting on my list forever. And at some point I was like, I don't think that will happen. And then a little bit over a year ago, the war happened. I was like, oh my God, it's my time to bring Worldwide Orphans to Ukraine. And I went to Ukraine and I started our organization there. Now, once it's on your list, you don't know when it will be time to execute it. So add it to your list. Humanitarian ideas, whatever it is, create a list of 21 ideas. And only from there, you can start narrowing down and doing things. Okay, you guys, is that helpful? Was that helpful? Is that something? So I see some nods, some smiles, so if you ever decide what to do next, you got to start with a vision, right? And you got to start like, let's look at my options. Don't just jump to familiar and to known. Okay, look at communities you want to contribute to. The next topic. Okay, so this is what I want to say. I know I'm rushing through all these topics, but if you want to reinvent your career, this is the number, 818-405-8085. Text me with your email. Text me the word reinvent, and then we can continue this conversation in depth. I love helping people reinvent their career. So I have amazing story. So this woman that I told you that was an international tax lawyer, we did all the work with her, and then she realized she had 2 young children. She's like, I want to work in children's education or safety. This is what I want to do. Then the next thing I know, she found, and then when we looked at the role, we said that COO or operational role would be great for her because she's a go-getter. She's very detailed oriented. She gets things done. She's known for that. She said, Misha, I am working in a startup. It's an educational toy startup. I got an operational gig there. So I'm exploring whether that's the right thing for me. And I'm seeing for myself, but starting my own business is a good idea. Isn't that amazing? So she is not only switching her direction, but she's also working towards her future. I've been working with quite a few lawyers. Another lawyer who was working on Wall Street and was mom of 3, was just so worn out by in her heart, she was a humanitarian and she wanted to do humanitarian work. Well, and she wanted to run a nonprofit in the future. So she got a general counsel and manager role in a foundation. What's her lead. I have a lot of beautiful stories of people making transformation in their careers that I can share with you. But if you want to continue this conversation, this is how you're in touch with me. Okay, the next topic, attain. So here it is. We're talking about getting the job you want. Can I tell you? It's very easy. I'll break it. I'll make it so simple for you that it will be ridiculous. It's so easy to get the job you want. You just need 2 things. I see Cindy is listening. Okay, 2 things you need. A, you need to get in front of right people and tell them the right thing. It's just that simple. It's the whole job hunting. If I would break it down to the whole basics, this is all you need. Now, let's look at what's in the way. There's a lot of job postings online. And also we know when any job shows up online, there's tons of people applying online. It's very hard to compete, right? We also know that AI algorithms now screening your resumes, not even a human person. I also found a statistics that recruiters in the companies spend 6 to 8 seconds reviewing your resume. So if you're sending them your resume, it's better be like amazing. And only 3% of resumes will result in an interview. On the top of that, this is what I noticed. You might have a competency in a particular area, like let's say financial reporting. So you know how to talk about financial reporting. You can be excellent at talking about financial reporting. But where you could be struggling talking about yourself as a financial reporting expert, which is a very different story than just talking about financial reporting. And also what I noticed, so that goes both to people that lost their jobs, so suddenly they operate inside of the structure where a lot of, they had a boss, they had deadlines, and suddenly they moved into an environment that doesn't have structure. Or if you have a job, you're already so busy. So it's very hard to structure your job search. So it's much easier for you to manage somebody else than to manage yourself. Right? Does it resonate with you guys? So here it is. So we have all these roadblocks in the way. So how could you get your dream job? And I usually, when I talk to people like you, I said, of course you can get a job. I don't have a question whether you can get a job. I talk about, can you get the job that you really want? Can you really maximize your job search? Can you get to that like really niche where you really want to be? So how can you get your dream job if you're not a top-notch communicator about yourself? And that communication is everything, our resume, an interview, everything, right? If you're applying for jobs online while competing with hundreds or thousands other candidates, if you keep doubting yourself, right? Because that's a big deal. Like we keep like, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe these people know more than me. Why would somebody trust me, Or if you're struggling to organize yourself. So this is what I say. If you really want to be effective in your landing your dream job, you better have a job search strategy. Again, we like about anything. If you want to accomplish anything and be thoughtful and conscious about, you better have a strategy on how. And when I say strategy, I'm talking about everything, your personal brand story, your communication, who you're approaching, when, how, structure, all of it. That's all creative strategy. So I want to tell you about the strategy. So I basically structured is the strategy has 4 pieces. The first one, it starts with your mindset. I'm working with this amazing woman. She is a creative director and we're looking at her next thing. And this is what I told her, and I'm telling you also this. Your number 1 job is when you wake up to clear the garbage out of your head. Your number 1, because if you wake up with a garbage in your head, it doesn't matter what job is there, who is there, you're not fit, you're not going to do great, you might not even notice it. The number 1 job in job search is clear garbage out of your head. Because with the garbage in your head, there is nothing possible, nothing. Okay, that's number 1, that's mindset. The second thing, especially if you lost a job, but it applies to everybody. I believe in life by design. I live that we can design the life that we want. Design your life during your job hunting. Now, what's very important is when somebody gets laid off, I talked about it already. You move from a high structure environment to no structure. Then you will end up, I don't know, watching cat videos on Facebook or doing some ridiculously things. You spend most of the day in the most unproductive way, and then it will suck. It will impact your mindset. And I usually say, if you just spend 1 hour a day effectively looking for a job, that's all you might need. You don't. But the game here is consistency more than ups and downs. And you might have time to learn new things. By the way, with AI and ChatGPT, you better becoming an expert in prompt engineering, all these topics that you better be learning new things, especially if you're moving to, you better be learning new things. You better be taking care of your health, because like how else you're going to do well. So your second biggest job is to design your life and structure your life in a way that you can be looking for a job. And the last thing here is, who are you talking to? Who are you having conversation with? You know that most of conversations that people have in life, they either gossiping or complaining. So if that's the conversations and that's the people and the quality of your conversation that you set up yourself for, that's not great. Find people that will inspire you. Find people that will, with whom you can plot what's next for you. You can brainstorm exciting ideas. Surround yourself with these people. Okay, that's your second job, right? The third job is your personal brand story, is being able to talk about you. And when I say personal brand story, it's everything. It's the resume, it's LinkedIn profile, it's how your family knows you. Like the work that I do with people, which is like a fundamental work. It's called Career Blueprint, where we really like, remember that who am I question that I said? That's basically an articulation to that. I say you want everybody to know you for your value system. You want, you want to be known, and that builds your personal brand story. Now, the most important in your personal brand story is relevance. It's just the most important that it's relevant to a role that you're looking to fulfill. That's why I say, don't create generic resumes. They don't work. They will die with all other generic resumes. Pick what you want, be very laser sharp. Go. Your personal brand story is everything. Everything is how you communicate on LinkedIn, and how you're reaching out to people is what you say in the interview about yourself. And your resume is a great way to start building your personal brand story. Why? Because your resume is a collection of facts, but your resume is a story. So if you just have a lot of bullets on your resume that don't tell a story, forget it. Nobody will have time for that. So your personal brand story. And the last but not the least, I call it a pursuit strategy. This is about your strategy of how do you identify the opportunities? I read the statistics between 60 and 80% of jobs don't get posted online. So before, and I worked in many companies. I know that before we would advertise any job, we would try to figure out through our relationships and internally or through connections that our people had. That would be our first way to. So by the time this job ended up being online, and then hundreds of people see it or thousands of people see it, and a lot of people apply for it, there's this whole stretch of jobs that nobody ever sees. How can you go after that? So that's your pursuit strategy. How do you then close those deals? After you have these interviews, how do you close? That's your pursuit strategy. Whew. I know that's a lot. I know I just squeezed so much in an hour. Am I overloading you guys? Do we need let's just all take a big breath, maybe do something like this that's a lot of information. Now, I am starting a winner's job hunt bootcamp in September. If that's of interest to you, this is what we will do. We'll answer the phones. So how to continuously believe in yourself, how to do that, how to structure your life during job hunt. These are the things that we will answer. How to communicate about yourself, how to get in front of right people, how to kill it on interviews, not the interviewer, but do really well, how to close the deal and negotiate what you want. That's basically. And if that's of interest to you, the same number, just text me winners. Now, let me tell you a story. So there's this gentleman came to me, Dan, worked in the same organization for 10 years, came to me, I feel like depressed, especially I noticed that men, they not feel like they doing well at their job, they actually could go into depression. And he's like, well, I'm getting great reviews, but no compensation, no career future, what we distinguish with him in this whole work, in mindset work, which I find the most important, that he used to be a badass. He used to take a risk. He used to do these sports. Then he got married, got children, got a job, and then he became a good boy. And as a good boy, he was doing a really good job, but not having the life that he wanted. So he truly switched, turned this around. Guess what? He went to his boss and asked for 70% raise. Now, I usually say, I don't care. I don't care whether you get a raise or a new job or a promotion or honestly, I don't care. What I care about is that you're clear and empowered. Because I know if you're clear and empowered, you will go out and do amazing things in life. Now, he didn't get the raise, but instead, he created a leap. He found this finance director role in one of the most innovative companies in the industry. He got a 2.5 times raise, in terms of financially. He moved his family to a different state. I'm still working with him because right now he's working on thriving. Remember, we envisioned, we attained, and thriving. And he's like, Misha, I spoke with him. I remember that January conversation in particular. He said, Misha, I'm having a whole new life. It's a whole new life. It's not just a new job. Okay, so that's to landing your dream job. Okay, that's a lot. Should I take some questions before we go to Excel? Christy, I know you know what I should do.
Good job. Yeah.
Well, we have 10 minutes. So let's see if we have people with questions. Who has a question for Misha? You've covered a lot, Misha. But I like what you said. Basically, to get a job, it boils down to two things. You have to get in front of the right people and you have to say the right things. And a bit of an oversimplification, but you're absolutely right. It's getting in front of the right people. So, to that end, you have to, also know what to say to even get into the right people. So,
Yes. You guys, you know what I realized? That I ran the whole presentation and I didn't share my slides. Wasn't sharing my slides?
I know, no,
I was like going.
Well, you can send them to you can give them to us and we'll send them
Well,
out.
I guess we didn't need those slides because, but
Well,
I have these,
nice, but that's okay.
gorgeous
So
slides I created for you guys.
Yeah, I know. We'll send them out to people. So, but go ahead and stop sharing so we can all see each other. I'm sure that people have questions. And
You know
so
what the last thing.
career growth cycle. Yeah.
So this is your career growth model, right? So this is where you go from envision to attain to excel. Let me refresh a few things. This is the dilemma that we have an external and internal and the leap, right? And maybe what I want to leave is like, if you guys want to be in touch with me, that you can be, I'm just leaving. If you want to reinvent, just tell me you want to reinvent. If you want to winners in your job hunt, tell me that. If you want to thrive, tell me that, and then we can set up a more in-depth conversation. But if somebody has a question, you guys just go for it.
All right, let's take down the sharing so we can see each other. All right, so who has a question? I don't see any hands. Bill.
Misha, talk a little bit more about tapping into that hidden job market where 60 to 85% of the jobs are hidden. How do we break into that?
Great. Okay. So to me, it always starts with knowing what you want. That's always a starting my point, because if you know clear about what you want, then I would go and explore which organizations you would want to work for, and then you can do actually. We do, what I do with my clients, the whole due diligence. Like, do you want to work with this organization? Is it aligned with your value system? Is that something that you really want? Like, go listen to their CEO. Right now, all these people are so public. You can learn so much about them. You can just tune into them. Like, look, I don't like this person. Like, oh, this is an aspiring leader. I would love to explore this company. And then use LinkedIn. I think the other great thing about LinkedIn, you can go into any company and you see every people who works there, a lot of people that works there. You see also how far they are from you. There's some people you might find people that in your network that work there. You might find people in maybe that the second 2 degrees of 1 degree of separation, and ask for an introduction. So what I encourage people is actually to do more of these reach outs and engage, but specifically with the companies that you're really excited about, because then it's, like we talked, this is the analogy that I love using in life or in everything. Who's skiing here? Any skiers? So if you don't know how to ski, intuitively what we do, what a lot of people do, they lean back. It's scary to move forward, right? So you lean back, and then what happens when you ski, if you know skiing and you lean back, your ski is going forward. You actually have zero control. Now, it somehow in your head, it feels like it's safer, but in reality, it's not. Now, the safest thing in ski is actually to lean forward, then you have control of your movements. but it takes some courage. So the same thing with job hunt, with career, you got to lean forward, and leaning forward meaning you taking charge. You're saying, well, these are the companies that I want to work for. These are the people that I want to investigate. These are the people that I want to reach out. Then you kind of moving into that, and then you just have conversations, reach out to your network. That's the way to get to some of these jobs that are not before they get advertised.
Okay, we
Great,
have
thank
another
you.
question. John said, what's the best way to wake up and get the garbage out of your head? So share it
love that
with us.
question.
We are on a tight time frame, so we've got less than 5 minutes.
Yes. Okay. So the best thing, have you guys heard about Byron Katie?
Yes.
So Byron Katie is this extraordinary woman. And then she has this book that's called Loving What Is. The best thing to listen to this book, because in the book, she interacts with a lot of people. I've been listening to her for the past 2 years every day. That's my way of clearing my mind. And I cleared so much. And every time, listen, I lead a big, complicated life. I have 3 kids, ages 9 to 12, that drive me crazy. I have a lot of garbage to clear. And that's my method. I listen to her, but you find yours. There's so many ways nowadays, and there's so many teachers out there. I put all my clients are listening to Byron Katie.
Yeah. And you know what, when it comes to, there's so many reasons that things get stuck in our head, I find. And job search, it's like amplified, right?
Yes.
It's like a megaphone in your ear rather than just this quiet little annoying voice. So, but that's, Byron Katie's a good one. Thank you for that. Okay, we are out of time. You all, thank you so much. Misha, thank you. We're going to send
You guys
out.
can find me on LinkedIn also if you want to. Misha Rubin with my name. You can connect with me there.
Yeah, and we'll send out your presentation that people didn't get to take a look at. But
Oh my
that's
God,
okay.
I worked
And,
so hard, but it helped me.
I know, there you go. Well, we're glad it helped you, because helping you helps us, right? So thank you all. We'll see you again soon. We have another bootcamp speaker coming up. Is it next week, Tina?
Yes, next Friday.
Okay, and